Okay, this is the next draft in our challenge to reach Mythic as quickly as we can. Since our last draft I posted, which was for draft number 12, we've completed another draft. We went 7 and 2 in that video I posted, and now we've gone 7 and 2 again in another draft, which was a black-red party deck. Pretty happy with that. We're back to our winning ways, back-to-back 7-win tournaments. Our win rate is climbing, it's back up to 61%, and our cost per draft is falling, it's down to about $3. So let's get into the next tournament. Hello everyone, we are drafting Zendikar Rising. We are into the next draft in our challenge. We are back to our winning ways. I think we have back-to-back 7-win tournaments now. We've opened pack 1 and there's not much here I'm excited about first picking. I mean, the Archpriest of Iona is not the strongest. It's okay, but it's definitely not... Like, this could easily be an uncommon in my opinion. It's not that strong. Kazil's Fury is a nice modal land. It's a nice removal spell. We might take that here. The Ravager's Mace is nice, but it's gold. We're not first picking a gold card. The Relic Vial is basically gold. It's black-white. So it's basically between Kazil's Fury and Nahiri's Binding. As a solid removal spell, a common. I think it's the Fury. Modal lands are nice. Nice card advantage. It's basically removal. Yeah. It's not. What's nice about this card is you can respond to them killing your creature and then sack it. So it's not 2 for 1 yourself. It can be a little awkward sometimes, but it's still a good card. Now there's a Lotus Cobra here, which is definitely powerful. Whenever land comes into play, you add mana. So it's ramp. It's also fixing because the mana can be any color. Feed the Swarm is a nice removal spell in black. Silent Effusion is an okay modal land, but not a huge priority. The Attended Healer is nice. We did pass a Relic Vial. If we hadn't passed that, we would have liked the Attended Healer. The Lotus Cobra is pretty sweet. I mean, but green-red is probably the weakest archetype in the whole set. We don't have to necessarily end up green-red, though. I think the Cobra is probably better than the Healer, and those are the 2 cards I'm considering along with Feed the Swarm. Feed the Swarm is very good, but I think we try the Cobra here. Pick 3 Tabrax. Man, if we'd taken that Relic Vial followed by the Attended Healer, and now Tabrax? Okay, we can't not take Tabrax. Even if you're not in a Cleric's deck, he's awesome. But of course, if you have Clerics, he's absolutely out of control. You can draw cards. Yeah, it costs you a life, but who cares? You're drawing cards. Really good. We're definitely going to take him here. The Mospit Skeleton and the Low Mage's Familiar are both good cards, but they're gold, and we're not necessarily committing to those colors early. The commons here are all pretty weak. So, I mean, Spellcraft's playable, Rapture's playable, Stalker's playable. That's pretty much it. So, it's got to be Tabrax. And man, I wish we'd taken... I don't think we made mistakes in our picks, but wow, if we had taken the Relic Vial and then the Attended Healer, this would be busted. Alright. Decent modal land here in white. Not excited about either of these uncommons at all. This is actually pretty bad. Consider defense. Do not play this card. Decent blue card here in the Geyser Mage. Decent green card in the Visionary. Blood Beckoning is a nice reanimate spell. But I think it's the Stampede, the Geyser Mage, or the Visionary. Probably not the Geyser Mage. That would put us into a 4th color. You could say the same thing about the Stampede, so maybe it's just the Visionary. No, if we end up black-white and Clerics is really open, we might like the Stampede. Sure, we've picked 4 different colors here to start, but let's just take the Stampede. Wow, now there's a Root Grazer. Not seeing really strong Clerics, although there is a Cleric here in the Protector. It's probably one of the weaker Clerics in the Cleric's deck. Like, this is more of an aggro card, like red-white. If you need party, you put this in. I think I'm down for the Root Grazer or the Rabid Bite. I really want to take the Root Grazer. It is strong, but I think we're more likely to end up in a deck with a Rabid Bite because it's just single-colored. But green and white have been flowing really well. Yeah, let's take the Rabid Bite. It's close. I mean, the Root Grazer is good. But let's just stick to single color cards here. Alright, another nice green card we can scoop up and Bala get recovery. So green's flowing. Blue, there's a lot of blue cards here, but they aren't necessarily strong. I mean, maybe Glacial Grasp is the only card that's... And the Cascade Seer is okay, but... Like, they're not great. They're playables. Red here, like the Hellhound, if we ended up red-green, I guess we might like it if we were, like, really heavy into landfall. Like, the red-green decks that I've had more success with are actually party decks, like green-red party decks. I just don't find the cards to go heavy into landfall with it. Although I've been beaten down by it occasionally. Like, if you get a strong green-red deck going, you can do, like, heavy landfall, and it's good aggressive deck, but it doesn't come together very often. Alright, there's a Skyclave Relic here, but this is not my idea of a good card. It's basically 3 mana for mana rock that can produce 1 mana of any color. It is indestructible, but as if that matters, they're not going to use removal on this. I think it's just a Baloth, solid green creature. I think green's flowing. We don't know our other color yet. I think the white is definitely dried up the last couple of packs. The black has been pretty weak all of a sudden. Okay, some decent cards here in green and black. So maybe green-black is where we end up. I mean, the white still is absolutely absent. The red is not looking very good at all these last few packs. Maybe green-black is fine. If we were green-black and we wanted party, we might like the Blightblade. Blood Beckoning is a nice reanimate spell. And the Brute is playable as well, but I think with Rabbit Bite, I just want the Blightblade. It goes really well with Rabbit Bite. And typically your green decks just aren't that aggressive. Like, it's kind of nice to have the Blightblade in those kinds of decks, I find. So, the Mace Wield, that could mean black-red is a thing, but we have 1 black card, 1 red card. We don't want to throw away our green. So, it's probably the Gloom Hunter. It's basically the only black card that was in the pack other than the Mace, and they both wield. So, that's a good sign for black-green, I suppose. Kite Sail could be playable for high on creatures. And, yeah. The 2 green cards from this pack wield, including a Stomper, which is very playable. We have a Balaget Recovery already. We're likely to pick up maybe 1 or 2 at least more modal lands, and if there's more than that, then the Stomper's just absolutely busted. Imagine a 6/5 Trampler that adds 2 spells to your hand. Like, just so good. Like, Stomper. And look at the green. I mean, these aren't good green cards, but they're all still here, so we could take the Familiar, but I really don't think blue is going to be our lane. Like, we've seen blue wheeling. Let's just take it. I mean, we're not going to miss any of these green cards. We might end up blue-green. Alright, and the Pickaxe to the sideboard. Like, I seriously doubt him will end up playing this card. I guess we went green-white, maybe. Green-red, maybe. Bear Splice, playable. So we're definitely green. We don't have to be anything else, though. But I would say probably black looked fine. Blue looked reasonably good as well. And wow, that's what I like to see. This is one of my favorite cards in the whole set. Inscription of Abundance. Alright. There's a nice removal spell here in black as well, but it's not as good as the Inscription. This does so much for you, and it only costs 5 to kick. So you can put counters on a creature, gain life, and fight something, all at instant speed. Even if you can't get up to 5 mana, you can still do this for 2 mana. Maybe fight a creature at instant speed, blow them out. Very good card. It also puts counters on stuff, which you might care about if you're black-green. Yeah, I think we're going to end up black-green here. Like, if we see some absolutely wicked blue card in this next pack, maybe we go blue-green. I could see justification for that as well, but we're off to a good black-green start here. And now there's a Low Mage's Familiar. Another one. What do we have with Kicker here? Like, 1 card in green or blue with Kicker. We're not off to a good Kicker start at all. Maybe we just want to take the Modal Land, the Predation, and stick to our green-black land, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's get organized here. We'll put our spells in a pile. With the Lotus Cobra, We could definitely splash, so we'll keep these modal lands. Oh, sorry. Let's back in here. I think we're not going to splash the familiar, but we may splash white or red. We've got some modal lands that could help us in that regard. Also got a green one here. And now we've got a Palaka Predation. Wow, we could have had a third familiar, but we've got no cards with the kicker here. Like, it just doesn't seem like a good idea. The black here is not great. I think I'm just down for a Visionary. I like this card a lot. Great 4-drop, draw a card, decent stats. Not great stats, but good enough that I'm almost always happy playing this on turn 4. Yeah, we'll take the Visionary. And look at all the blue options if we'd gone blue. There's a Maddening Cacophony here. We never would have taken it, though. This is terrible. This is terrible. Okay, this is the only card we would have taken. The Royal Mage. But I think the Gloom Hunter is going to be okay. We have 2 of them now. I usually am fine with just running 1 of them. Because they're not great blockers. Like, the upside is, if you can't block with it, you can just attack and gain a life. But sometimes that's not good enough. Like, if they come down with a couple aggressive creatures like the Vanguard, you want to be able to block and trade as opposed to just pinging for, or draining from 1, basically. So, I don't know if I want 2 in our deck, but it's the best card for us here. Better than the Nectar Pot, I think. Ooh, okay, now we could take a Palaka Predation, another one, or we could take the Blood Priest, which is just a solid black card. Our party's not looking particularly good, but it does go nice with Tabrax as a cleric. It's just a decent card. Like, I think the Predation's nice, but I kind of want to get some clerics into this deck. There's definitely a black-green cleric deck you can build. I've run black-green cleric decks with a Relic Vial, and it's sweet. It's very good. And this is a good card. Predation's good, but we already have 1 of them. Okay, Florahedron, nice way to ramp. I mean, better than our other options here. I think this deck is, we've got some beaters, we've got some nice air threats. I'm definitely interested in removal. I'm interested in cards that can provide card advantage for me. Take Florahedron though. Okay, and now we've got a choice basically between the Arbor Mage and Reclaim. The Reclaim would get us closer to splashing, but the Arbor Mage is a very nice win condition. It's also a party member, which we might care about. I think it's better than the Reclaim. We don't have to splash. I mean, we're not desperate or anything. Our deck's kind of filling out here. We could end up with a high creature count, and we'd end up playing maybe some equipment. But so far, we're okay. Speaking of which, like, we might play something like the Kitesail if we have a high creature count, but I think at this point we just take the Reclaim now. Like, we do have a Stomper already, and it is a little expensive. I think the Reclaim's a priority. It'll keep that option to splash open if we see something really good in red, or this probably wouldn't be the best card to splash. It's double white, but okay, nothing really here for us that we'd want to splash in red. Except for maybe the Ravager's Mace. Like, if we get in a big enough party, like I said, we might have a high creature count. We might like the equipment. In black-green, it's usually hard to get your party size up, but we have quite a few party members, I think, already, so there's a world where it may happen. We're definitely not splashing Smite. And Spellcraft is a removal spell. I guess we could splash if we do splash red, so we'll take the Spellcraft here. I hate Zendikar not picking it. We've also got a Lotus Cobra, I forgot, which helps. Okay, so now put the Mace over here for now. I think it's the Stomper. Another Stomper's fine. Nice top end. We got lots of Modal Lands. And Mighty Marassa is a playable trick. Probably rather have removal, but alright, and now the Nectar Pot. Nice. You know, not a great 2-drop, but something we can play on turn 2 to keep from dying. Alright, last pack. Here we go. This pick's fairly easy. I think it's Deadly Alliance. We're light on removal. This is a good removal spell. We have quite a few party members in our green-black deck. It should be okay. The Baloth, I've never actually played, to tell you the truth. Like, I've played this set over 100 drafts, and I just never run this guy. He's way too expensive for what he does. And if you want to kick him, I mean, it's 10 mana total. If he had trample, he might be more interesting, but I think it's easily Deadly Alliance, just a great removal spell. So, Deadly Alliance it is. Flame. Ooh, okay, now we have a choice between another Deadly Alliance or a Swarm Shambler. In black-green, I really like the Swarm Shambler. We don't have a ton of counters cards, though. But it is just a decent card that can grow. Deadly Alliance would be nice, but we've got Rabbit Bite, Deadly Alliance, Inscription. We've also got some red removal we can splash. So I don't think the Deadly Alliance is a huge priority. I think we want the Shambler here just as a nice threat. It does kind of suck that you have to pay to put a counter on it every turn. So sometimes it doesn't... And if you tap it, you obviously can't attack with it. So it takes a while to grow, but it's just a decent card. Okay, speaking of decent cards, I like the Scythe Cat much more than the Mucklord or the Constrictor. It's a threat that can grow. Doesn't look like we're going to have many clerics in this deck, but we've got some decent creatures. We've got some decent removal. Scythe Cat. Now it's between the Brute and the Skydancer. The Brute has some nice stats. The Skydancer would be a nice evasive threat in the air. Neither of them are clerics. We've got some tiny evasive air threats here, though. I think I just want a nice chonky 3/3. It's also a party member. If we end up splashing this mace, which is unlikely, we're not going to have much of a party. I seriously doubt we'd splash the mace, but... Ooh, speaking of party, there's a veteran adventurer. Okay, so what do we actually have here? We have 2 clerics, 1 rogue, 1 warrior, 2 wizards. Not a ton. But it is a cleric, technically. It goes well with Tabaraks. It's a nice big threat. If it can come down for, let's say, 5, we've got room at that position in our curve. I think we take it here. I wouldn't mind a Visionary. And a Snarecaster could give us a party type, but this is a deck where I'm actually probably going to run that card. Okay, now we could take Roiling Regrowth as a way to splash, but we don't really have much landfall. Like, we've got a next probably won't even play. We've got a Visionary. I think I just want the solid 2-drop here in the Colony. We've already got a Reclaim, a couple Moto lands. We've got the Lotus Cobra. We could easily pick up another source of fixing here and we'd be just fine as far as that goes. I think we just want the Colony. We'll get rid of this Nectar Pot. And now there's another Colony. Sweet. So we did pick up some creatures with counters. Oblivion's Hunger might make the cut if we see another one. Now I think I'm actually interested in the Snarecaster. We only have 1 flyer. Oh no, we have a couple flyers here. In the Gloom Hunters, we have a Tabaraks too. Take the Kite Sail maybe. But I think the Snarecaster is more likely to make our deck. There's that source of fixing. Sweet. We scooped it up. Man, we could have had like 4 Lull Mages Familiars in this deck. We could have gone blue-green with 4 Familiars. But we had, like, going into pack 2, we added, like, 0 kicker in blue-green. 0. Anyways, we'll take Reclaim. Sweet. Now we'll take that Oblivion's Hunger. Could definitely make the deck if we have enough creatures with counters. I have to take a look at it. Not sure about it. There's another creature with counters we could play, make it better. Maybe we already have a Snarecaster. We're not playing Strength of Solidarity in a million years. I've never played this card. Never will. You'd have to, like, threaten me and pull a gun on me. Maybe I still wouldn't play this card. Playing either of these. Okay, Let's build this deck. So we'll just clear everything out. It looks like we're probably splashing again because our black-green removal is very light. We got a couple red removal spells, I think, right? Zeal's Fury, Synchronized Spellcraft. Is it worth splashing those 2 cards? I guess we'll find out here. So let's just clear out the deck. We'll put in our modal lands. Predation. Claims as well. Chlorohedron. Valgate Recovery. Okay, and then we've got the red one and Kazil's Fury. So, like, I do kind of feel that we might need the removal. Like, Kazil's Fury and the Spellcraft would give us... What would we have for removal here? Deadly Alliance, Inscription of Abundance, and Rabbit Bite would be it. Which is definitely light. So I can see splashing those 2 cards. So if we put all the cards into the correct colors, Reclaims would basically be black sources in our deck because they cost 1 green. So if we can cast it, we must have green. We'll need to make sure we have green. So we're going to play less black sources. We'll only play 1 red source. I think. Maybe 2. We do have double Stomper, which can bounce the Fury. But then if you bounce the Fury, how do you cast it without mountains in play? Anyways, this would be 8, 10, 16 land, which is not enough. So we'd add 3 green sources maybe. Nine, 11 green, double Reclaim, and this would work out to basically 6 black sources. Is that enough? Probably not. So maybe we go with 10 green and then another black. We'll see what our deck looks like, but that's probably more reasonable. That's basically 7 black sources. Okay, then we'll put in our creatures. Just everything I would remotely consider playing. We'll get rid of this for now. I will remember to put it in my deck. I actually recently did a draft. I splashed red for 2 Royal Eruptions. I put in the mountain and forgot to put in the Royal Eruptions. So maybe let's just put it in here. Anyways, creatures. So, Shambler, Blightblade, Double Colony, Cobra, Brute, Snarecaster, and 1 maybe. Blood Priest. So that's 38 cards. That's definitely way too much. We'd have to make some cuts. Is this cleric going to be good? I mean, what's our party look like here? Does this veteran adventurer count? It's a human, right? It's not going to count here. So it counts as a human there, 1. So we've got 2 wizards, 1 warrior, 2 clerics, and 2 rogues, and a veteran adventurer. I think with a veteran adventurer, we want to play all of those party members if we can. So I'd probably cut a Gloom Hunter right off the top. I'd probably cut... Wow, we're just not going to be able to play them all. Maybe we cut a Stomper. I mean... The modal lands aren't particularly great to bounce late, except for maybe Valagad Recovery and Kazil's Fury. Placabidation, like if you bounce this late, they might not have anything in their hand. So maybe we cut a Stomper. And then for our non-creature spells, we'd want to go with... So if we did this, we'd have creatures with counters. Gloom Hunter, Colony, Shambler, Scythe Cat, Tabrax... A few, not a lot. This isn't really a black-green counters deck. We don't really even have payoffs for playing counters. Except for maybe the colonies, which give creatures with counters trample. Anyway, so Oblivion's Hunger probably doesn't get played. We just don't have enough counters reliably to make it good, I think. So we go with Deadly Alliance, Inscription, which can also add counters, I should add. I forgot about that. Rabbit Bite. And that's it. That's all we want to play. Maybe Might of Marasa could make the cut. And that's it. Wow, okay, so we're really creature heavy here. I kind of wish we had a kite sail. We got 17 creatures. We got some big beaters too. That would be sweet on a kite sail. I wish we'd scooped one up. I didn't realize how low creature count we were going to be. We could go with the pickaxe as an equipment as opposed to the kite sail. Like, we do have double reclaim here. We're going to be playing basically 8, 10, 13, 8, 18, 20 lands. I think I'd rather just have Might of Marasa, though. Decent trick. We could put in spare supplies just to give us a little bit of draw. We could put the Stomper back in. If we're going to be playing 20 lands. Maybe another Stomper is better than Might of Marasa, but I kind of like the ability just to interact with creatures a little bit. We could take out a... I really don't want to take out any of these creatures. So, is it Might of Marasa or Stomper? I think it's got to be Might of Marasa. I mean, it's not the greatest, but we've got removal. We got 1, 2, 3. We've got Kizil's Fury. We've got Synchronized Spellcraft. Just put that over here, I guess. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to make red. Or get red. I do kind of want to fit in the Stomper, but I'm just not sure where I would put it. Like, I'm not sure what I would cut. It would probably be one of these 3-drops that are kind of medium, but I feel like we should keep our party size up. I mean, what reason do we have for doing that? Basically, the Veteran Adventurer, right? That's the only reason. It's the only party payoff. I guess you could say Deadly Alliance as well. So, we got Spellcraft as well. So we've got a few reasons here. Spellcraft, Deadly Alliance, to... Oh, we've also got the Blood Priest. Okay, so we've got some ways here to definitely benefit from party. Like, if this comes down for 5 instead of 6, that's great. 5/5 with Vigilance for 5. That's big. The Florahedron can help us ramp. The Lotus Cobra can help us ramp. So I'm thinking maybe we do want another Stomper, but what do we cut? Now, you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut this Blood Priest. I mean, it's just not going to drain very much. And then go with another Stomper like this. So the dream of drawing cards with Tabaraks would be nice, but it still works well. Like, if a creature dies, it gets a counter. That's great. It grows big fast. I'd love to draw cards with it, but I just think keeping the party as big as we can is not as valuable as having another Stomper in this 20-land ramp deck. So, alright. I think this is going to be our deck. Let's put it all together. Yeah, curve looks reasonable. Let's assume this costs 5. Let's assume Deadly Alliance costs 4. For a ramp deck, that's pretty sweet. Alright, I'll see you in the first round. Okay, we are into the first game. I think this is a keep. We've got 1-drop, 2-drop, no Black Source yet. But I actually noticed something before I started this game. We're actually running only, what, 4 black cards? We have 2 more black cards than we have red cards. So I actually cut a swamp and went with another forest. And that would actually give us 18 land, not 19. I was accidentally counting the synchronized spellcraft, which I put into the land pile for some reason, as a land. So technically we have 19 sources. A lot of green cards. But this is it. This is a keep. We still got, I believe, 6 ways to find black. Plus the lowest Cobras, so we'll lead with Blightblade. It's a great rabbit bite target. We're definitely going to try to keep our Blightblade alive. Especially if we don't hit land here. I am not going to attack here. He's got 1 blue source up and he has an effect. Or does he? Maybe he passed the turn because he's clever. I feel like he had an effect and passed the turn, so could easily be a duelist. He's trying to pick us off. Just not worth getting in the 1 point of damage. Let's let him tap his mana. Why did I not play the colony? Ah, man, I gotta get used to this whole talking and playing thing, because when you're talking, it's so hard to think. Like, you talk so much slower than you usually think. I gotta... Ugh. Now we probably don't even play it if we find another land here, yeah. Again, not worth attacking for 1 point of damage. We really want to keep this Blightblade alive. Maybe he doesn't have anything, but it's not worth the risk. There we go. Well, if we played our colony, we would have had to attack into... We would have gotten 2 damage in. Okay. Adept, sweet. Let's get up to 5 mana here. Well, that's a land. We could play a landfall trigger. What I was hoping is we'd be able to kick the Gnarly Colony or play the Adventurer, and it doesn't look like either of those is going to happen. So I think we play this as a land. Yeah, see, he's got something. I think he's just been passing through the phases trying to bait us. We'll attack. And then we probably just hold up Deadly Alliance, pass the turn. So yeah, I've noticed watching these videos, by the way, since this is, I think, my 4th, that I just don't think my decisions through as carefully as I usually do when I'm not streaming. Because I'm talking out loud, you think a lot slower when you're talking. So we're going to make an effort here to think through our decisions a little bit better. I think that we've still gotten good results. It's just, there's been a couple games I've noticed watching the videos where I'm not really thinking through my options very clearly. So the solution is, take more time to think and then just edit that out of the video, I guess. Okay, so that went very well. Nice that he tapped out. Nice that we 2-for-1 him. He also had the chump. It was basically a 3-for-1. That was just absolutely massive. He could have an into the roll at some point here to bounce our Baloth. I think we just eat 3. We still have Rabbit Bite. We're at 28 life. We're fine. Alright. It's either the Adventurer or the Gnarly Colony. We might even hold the land. We do have a little bit of landfall. But if we play the land, we can Rabbit Bite. We want to Rabbit Bite? Or just play the Adventurer? The Adventurer will lower the cost of Deadly Alliance, but we won't quite have enough to cast it. I think we just go with the Adventurer. Let's go with Colony. It's a 4-4. He would still lose both if he double blocked. It's still a good block for both of those. I guess we just hold on to the Adventurer. It is a little better. And we'll play one more land. In case we lose this Blightblade and we hit a land, we'll still have enough to play the Adventurer and Rabbit Bite. So it's looking like he could have practice tactics here. So if he plays another creature, we're going to be very careful with the Veteran Adventurer. Jesus, this guy has every removal spell, unfortunately. Alright, we're just passing the turn. Do we want to use a removal spell here and try to get in? It just doesn't seem worth it. I mean, we've got 2 removal spells now. If he plays any big threats, we can take them out. We don't even need the Blightblade to do it. Like, we've got giant creatures we can target here. Man, I wish we had a Feed the Swarm. We could just kill one of these bubble snares, but I think we're just kicking the Reclaim and passing the turn here. Let's thin out our deck a little bit. We'll get a Black Source in case we want to bounce that Predation. We do have a Gloom Hunter, which requires double black, so. Like, I don't think there's an attack here. It's just not worth using the removal. We've certainly got some other big creatures we could draw. Double Stomper. We'll play a red, we'll hold the black. There we go. He's probably got another removal spell. Do we attack before we show him the Stomper? Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to Rabbit Bite this Adept. We can attack with the Cobra and the Snarecaster, and we'll still have enough to... Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's go with all three. Start dealing some damage. There's the tactics. I told you. We could just respond by killing the Sellsword. But I'd rather hold up Deadly Alliance, honestly. I don't mind losing the Blightblade. That's fine. Ah! And he's out of cards? Yeah, I see no reason to use Deadly Alliance. Like, it would 2-for-1 him, I guess. Like, this Sellsword's really not a threat. We're worried about other threats. So, like, I honestly think I'm fine with this. Okay. I wish I'd known he had a second practice tactics. If I'd known he had a second one when he cast the first one, I would have used Deadly Alliance. But I had no way of knowing he had two of them. So after he did the first one, I was kind of like, well, what's the point here? But this guy has all the removal. This is very, like, practice tactics, bubble snare, binding. We played some too. I guess Inscription and Rabbit Bite, but not nearly as much. Alright. So now, this costs 3 to pump. He can pump it once. He's going to double block the Stomper. We're going to blow him out with Deadly Alliance, and yeah, that's game. So, definitely... could have argued, I guess I should have used it, but then we never would have known he had the tactics. He could double tactics to kill our Stomper. We'd rather have the Stomper than a 2-1 Lotus Cobra at this point, right? Anyways, good game. Okay, we are into the next game. We got another keep here. This is an interesting hand. I think we want to try to get the Florahedron out on turn 2 and then ramp into the colony on turn 4. I'm hoping in the next... we're on the draw, so I'm hoping in the next 3 cards we do something else to do on turn 3. We definitely want to play the colony, or sorry, the Balagad recovery early because we have a Stomper that can bounce it. So I think we lead with the recovery, play the Florahedron, and go from there. There's something else we can do. There's something else we can do as well. That's more interesting, actually. Baloth. Of course we're not blocking. Commence the beatdown. Yeah, right. There's nothing else really for us to do. We're certainly not playing the Snarecaster. It's going to be a kicked colony. 4-4 trample. Man, if we hit another land and can play the Stomper, this game's just over. Like, I mean... Jesus. Oh, wait a second. 3. Oh, that might change things. He's at a party size of 3. Ha. Huh. Well, we can still attack with trample into that, but if he gets up to a full party here, we're just dead. What does he need? He needs a wizard. If he had a wizard in hand, I feel like he would have played it already, because they're usually cheap as far as red goes. Blue is where you find the more expensive wizards. I think we just go with Tabrax. No wizard. We need a red source and we need it quick. What? Are you serious? Maul the Skyclave. Squad Commander and then Maul. Wow, his deck has some good cards. Blocks. We need a red source. And that won't even help because this Squad Commander is 5/5. I mean, how do we beat it? Oh, that might work. That'll buy us some time. What we need to do, though, is start smashing. I think we go with the colony. It's unlikely to grow. It does have trample, but you might be thinking he doesn't even have to block here. Well, that has trample. That's fine. We'll wait until his combat to cast it so that he can't come at us. The problem is he'll be able to equip and we'll have a hard time attacking him, but if we find a land with a Bailoff, we could do it because the most the Maul could do is make something a 3-power creature. It can make the Celebrant a 3/6, which the Bailoff can still attack. Nice. So we'll wait to see what he targets here. He's going to target the Squad Commander. We're going to kill it in response, and then he's not going to have the mana to re-equip them all because it requires double white. It's 4 mana actually to re-equip them all, so this could work out well for us. We really want to hit a land. Like, if we hit a land, we could be in real business here. Wow, that's bad. That's a lot of blockers. We need a land. Ah! Can we even attack now at all? No. That's horrible. We'd rather have the Snarecaster, I think, than this... Well, the Skycat can deal more damage. It's not like we're blocking any of these... The flyer that comes in next turn anyways. Man, we just haven't hit the land. If we hit land drops these last couple turns, I mean, this would be a game. But if the game just goes like this and the Maul's there, like, it's a matter of time. We're dead. We could be beating him down. We could be taking creatures off the board right now, so we'd have less creatures to equip. But there's nothing we can do here. Jesus. Ah, this deck. Why, deck? Why? It has to come in tapped, huh? He can also make the ambusher unblockable and then just kill us, I'm sure here. So that would be 5. Pay 2, then a 2 to pump this. Yeah, we're dead. I guess if we chump with the Snarecaster, we will live. But it's way too late. This game's over. We do have a Balagan Sanctuary we can bounce. If we go land here, we might have enough to actually play it on the following turn along with another Stomper, but... that totally let us down. Fuck. Okay. Well, he can't kill us. If he makes it unblockable, he can't pump it. But he is going for it big time. He doesn't have many blockers here, man. We could have... ah. Alright, let's get this over with. Alright, we are into the next game. This is a keep. We've got an all-green hand, but that's fine. We've got all green cards. I really think if we'd hit a land there, I mean, even if that last one didn't come in tapped, I think we would have... that game would have been a lot closer. Like, we would have had an extra 6/6 Trampler in play. We took him down to 4. He would have blocked other... like, he even blocked, like, as much damage as he could, so... if we'd hit it the turn before that, then we'd have 2 Stompers in play. Anyways, next game. Here we go. Bugcatcher. I'm certainly not going to offer the trade here. The Lotus Cobra is way better for us than it is for him. And we don't have a way to make red or make black yet. Sorry. So we're definitely not attacking. Fisher Wizard and then swing probably here. We'll take 3. But then we go in for 6. Yeah, I'm not blocking that. Next turn we'll have 5 mana. We could even Rabbit Bite if we want to. Or do that. That is interesting. What we could do with that is kick it, put the counters on the Cobra, fight the Fisher Wizard, and then swing for 10? That is massive. He could have Spikefield Hazard here and blow us out if we do that, though. That would make me very upset. We're going to play this land. I don't think he has it. I don't think he has it. He would have killed this Lotus Cobra last turn if he could have. He doesn't want us producing the mana. Alright. This will make it a 4/3. It'll survive the fight, and then we can swing for 10. Let's see if he comes in with the Bugcatcher now. That'd be funny. Sorry, bud. Wow, I think we should get the Balagan recovery, get our inscription back. I think that's going to be our play. And he still attacks. This guy's nuts. I guess he's got something now. Let's play the Visionary and see if we can hit a basic land. There it is. So we could play it, add green with the Cobra. He could have practice tactics here, which is all I'm thinking. But after we take out this wizard, he's dead. Green. Use the tactics. That was one of the faster games I've played. Wow, what a beatdown. We actually had mana to work with. Good game. Okay, we're into the next game. I believe we're 2-1. We've got to keep here for sure. We'll probably play the Blight Blade first, play a forest, see what we draw. If we hit another land, I don't think we use the Predation as a land. We definitely want to get up to 4 for the Visionary. Consistently, though. So, if we don't hit land, we will play the Predation on turn 2 as a land. Remember, we do have a Stomper. Okay, so now we're not going to play it until maybe turn 3. And then we'll decide if we want to play it as a land or cast it. If we hit another land here, then we're fine. We don't need it as a land. We got 4 for the Visionary. There's another land. But unfortunately, we can't play this turn because we have to kill that Root Grazer with Rabbit Bite. It's just way too big of a threat. This thing is awesome in green-white. Just awesome. Like, you can bounce lands, play lands at will, use it as a trick, triggers landfalls. This thing has to die. And the nice thing is, in green-white, there's not a lot of ways to bring it back. Basically, Bala get recovery. So, let's get this thing off the field. Now I think we take a look at his hand. We'll use Predation. Let's see what we're dealing with. Whoa, you can go. Ancient Green Warden. And he's got to practice tactics too, but he's got no party members I can see anywhere for miles. So the Green Warden can go. We'll always know this tactics is there now. Like, that's what made this such a huge play. Is he can only tactics when we want him to tactics now. So not only did we get the Green Warden out of his hand, but we basically took 2 cards because now the tactics is not helpful. I mean, what's the most he can do with it? 2 damage given his deck? Like, I haven't seen a single party member yet. No blocks. And we can block this Baloth as long as he doesn't play a party member. There's another land. Perfect. Down comes the Visionary. No attacks. We could even fight with the Visionary on the Baloth. Nah. I was thinking without the landfall trigger we might be able to do it, but we can't. Still 4 damage. There's a party member though, so he has the tactics. Watch out. No, we're gonna deal with you. Actually, do I want to get the tactics out of his hand? Gotta think about this one, because if that Brute goes, the tactics is no good. But he could attack with a Brute, and then we'd have to block, and he could still use the tactics. So there's not going to be any way to stop him from using tactics. So which one would we rather lose here, the Visionary or the Blight Blade? I think our plan is going to be to play the Brute and then fight with the Brute on the Snarecaster. So maybe the Visionary isn't that important. The Blight Blade can block the Baloth even with a landfall trigger on it. So I think we block with the Visionary. Huh. I didn't see that one coming. I would think you would rather get that out of your hand and get use of it while you can, because I know it's there. I basically gave you an opportunity. Just use it, use it, use it. What are you doing? Anyways. We can go Cobra, play the Florahedron as a land, and then use the mana for Brute. I don't think Florahedron as a creature is particularly important at this point, although he does have 2 1/1s on the field. We could just play the Brute and pass, but I think we need to get up to 5 mana. Or we could just... We're not even really under threat here. What's he coming in for 2 damage next turn? We could cast the Florahedron, cast the Cobra, and then just pass. Maybe that's better. I can eat 3. Well, yeah, we'll have the Brute. No. Okay, we're still doing it, but he's going to come in for a little more damage than that. We'll probably block the Blightblade with the Brute. I was just realizing we don't have anything more than 1 toughness creatures now. So he can attack with these 2 Florahedrons, and he'd like to trade with these 2, so he's going to be coming in for a little bit more damage, but that's fine. We just block the Brute. If he uses the Blightblade... Sorry, if he uses the Tactics, then we'll lose the Blightblade, and the cost of the adventure will go up by 1. We won't be able to cast it. So maybe we just eat 5 here. At the same time, we're not in a huge hurry, I guess. And I kind of want him to get that Tactics out of his hand. Because once he sees this adventurer, he can use the Tactics along with the Brute to kill it. So let's save ourselves some damage. If we hit a land, we're happy. I really think Bala Ged Recovery is going to be very useful. I don't want to play it as a land here, so we're just going to play the Brute and then attack. We might take another 3. Wouldn't trade the Brute because, again, it's lowering the casting cost of the adventure, and now that we don't have a party member and didn't hit a land, I don't think I want to block with the Brute. Well, there's a land. So now, even if the Brute dies, we'll have enough. We can play a land and get a trigger from the Cobra. We'll have 6. No, we've got 5 already. We don't even need the trigger from the Cobra now. So let's go with the Brute. I'll even play the land. We might conceivably want a landfall trigger to get a red source out of the Cobra if we draw some red. But I think I'd rather just have more mana now that I want to Bala Ged Recovery, get my inscription back, use it. Yeah. So this guy didn't come down. Like, it was hard keeping a party member in play for him. We just don't have much of a party. Alright, now we attack. If he blocks all 3 on the adventure, awesome. If the Brutes trade, that's fine too. Wow, now I think we blow him out. I didn't actually think he was going to do that, but this guy's desperate. Alright, so we're going to use the inscription. We're going to put the counters on our brute, and then we're going to fight this brute. This way the 5 damage would get through. And I think the veteran adventure is big enough. Let's put 2 5/5s in. Oh, he's got the fortification. Oh, but it doesn't help him. I wonder if he just did that because he was tilted, or he did it because he actually thought it would help. Okay, we're into the next game. Again, we have all green sources, but this time there's a black card. I think with double Stomper, I'm fine playing the Battle Gate Recovery on turn 1, Floor Heater on turn 2, and then ramp into Visionary turn 3. That sounds pretty sweet. Again, with 2 Stompers, we can play this. It has no use early anyways. Well, now Tabrax is looking pretty good as a block for that Gloom Hunter. But we can take a ping or two. Let's get the Visionary out, draw a card. Okay, we have a couple options now. What we could do is we could just attack, play the Baloth. But he's gaining a lot of life with this Gloom Hunter. Like, we have to do something about it. Can't really race it. So what I'm thinking is Tabrax, and then he'll attack. Or maybe he just uses removal on Tabrax and dies, and then we play the Baloth. But what I'm hoping is, because he's going to have priority, and he's not going to want to lose a 2/2 lifelinker. If he has some sort of trick or something, he's going to have to use it first. If he has some sort of removal, he's going to use it first. And then we can decide if we want to use Might and Marasa. He would never let those two trade. So if we ever get to a point where they're about to trade, we can use Might pretty safely, I think. So we're just going to attack with a Visionary. And he's got a 1 mana green spell. It's got to be colorless now. What's the 1 mana? Is there a 1 mana green instant in this set? I don't think so. What could it be? What's the 1 mana spell that's green? That's instant. I know sorcery. I know creature. What's the instant? Maybe he's in full control. I don't know. Maybe he's messing with me. Ah! You see? You see? I totally called this. This is how I said it would work out. See, I'm actually thinking more like I usually think as opposed to just talking and trying to fill the airways with sound. Gotta work on that. He could have the removals here still, but I don't know what it could be. Subtle Strike, maybe? Oblivion's Hunger. So he's gonna live. That sucks. Wow. Well, our dude lived, but now we can kill that easily. Sweet. So now that it's a 3/3 lifelinker, we're absolutely gonna kill it right now. And we'll hold land. We do have a Bailoff. Beat on Tyrax. Okay. Would I trade my Visionary with that Gecko? Absolutely. He could easily have like another Gloom Hunter he can kick for 5 mana instead of 4. So absolutely I would attack here. Sorry, kick for 5 mana instead of 6. We hold the land. We got landfall triggers for days. Man, that Oblivion's Hunger was rough. We played that perfectly. Ugh. He even got to draw a card. Okay, I think this is where we take a look at his hand to see what we're dealing with. Wow. Wow. That is ridiculous. He needs another black to kick all of these. We are on the clock. Ah, here comes the 1/1 Gloom Hunter. Nice. I'm fine with that. Let's reclaim. There's nothing in our deck that costs more than 6 mana, so I'm just gonna hold the swamp. Oh, the skeleton. Ah. Shit. That's not big enough to fight and survive. Ah. Now we will play a land in case we want a Rabbit Bite and Inscription on the same turn. But, darn it, that 5/5, we need a big creature to fight with, or bite with, or something. Okay. Now attack me. Attack me with the skeleton. Please. Yes. Yes. We can even Rapid Bite on the following turn and kill a skeleton. We can do it now. We know exactly what's in his hand. He's not doing anything else. He's like, uh-oh. And we're not going to block. Sorry, we're at 23 life now. Nice. If he finds a black, this is gonna suck. Maybe we even wait, but no, we're gonna do this while we can. If he finds a black and then he can kick Bludgy's Thirst, kill our only creature, and then get the shade out, put counters on it, bring the skeleton back, that's going to be rough. But I don't think we can just take 2 hits from this skeleton. It's going to take him a while. Like, the skeleton goes to the top of his library. He's going to have to use Bludgy's Thirst first. Nice. That's what you get for playing all those black cards with black kicker and not enough black sources. Okay, we're into the next game. We are 4-1. This is a nice hand. This might be our best starting hand yet. This hand is ridiculous. We can Swarm Shambler turn 1, Blight Blade turn 2, start pumping up the Shambler right away. A ridiculous start. We're keeping this. Sneaking Guide, okay. I'm sure he'll offer the trade with the guide. We're not going to take it. Wow, the token we get from if he kills this Shambler could be huge. Look at these 2 1-toughness creatures. And if he doesn't target it, eventually it's going to get big enough that, you know, he can't. It'll be a real problem for him. Okay. Ooh, now we can Lotus Cobra. But there's no way to really get the Brute out, and that's kind of what I want to do here. I'd love to put another counter on our Shambler, but I think the Brute is more important. If we play the Cobra, we can play a land. We can't get Tabrax out either. Yeah, it's just going to be... You can't put a counter on the Shambler every turn. It just doesn't make sense sometimes. I have a feeling that this way we can hold up the mana, put another counter on the Shambler. I have a feeling that next turn will be a big opportunity to use the Inscription while he's tapped out after he's played a big creature. In order to do that, we need 5 mana in play. Unless we hit a land, it's not possible. Like we'll only have access to 3. If we play the Florahedron, that's 4. That's not enough. So I think we just play the Florahedron as a tapped source. There was no way to do this, by the way, that I could think of with Reclaim. So, yeah, would have liked a 1/1 creature with these 2 1/1 top 1 toughness pack pieces in play. But here's the exact creature we want to fight. He's tapped out. And now we need another land to do it. God damn it. Oh well, this can grow a little bit, I guess, but I really want him to be tapped out. Come on, land. Do it with the Reclaim. We can do it with the Reclaim. We can get a land, and then we'll get a trigger off the Cobra as well. And if we put the counters on the Brute, then it's going to be another creature. If he targets, we get a token. Okay, we hit land anyways. We'll play a land, we'll use the mana from the Cobra, and then we'll still have a mana available on their turn to make the Shambler bigger. After the Brute fights, I don't think we attack. It'll have 3 points of damage on it. It will not be a good trade at all. Yeah. This, you see how good this card is, eh? Like, it's been very present in our deck, and it just absolutely destroys your opponent. We're going to gain 6 life, too. He's tapped out. It's the perfect time. Ambusher, okay. And a Pack Beast, wow. Whoops, we'll wait till combat. Is it worth attacking with the Brute here? He's tapped out, he can't bump the Ambusher. He'd have to block with at least, like, he could block with his 2/3 toughness creatures, but that's only 2 damage. He'd have to block with at least 2 more. So we know we'd get 3 creatures out of it. I'm sure he'd much rather have the Ambusher up to try to pump and trade 1 for 1. So we're going to play Tabrax before, just in case he wants to trade. If the Brute dies, then Tabrax will get a counter. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. These 1/1 tokens we get when a creature gets targeted with counters is going to be so big. Look at all those 1 toughness creatures. What I assume he's going to do, if he has nothing else to do, is make a Pack Beast unblockable and try to get in for 2. We're at 24 life, though. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't like that prospect. It means he can't pump his Ambusher either. He wants to be able to pump him twice to trade 1 for 1 with the Brute. So now if we came in with a Brute, it would just trade 1 for 1 with the Ambusher, which I'm really not crazy about. I think we just attack in the air. We'll hold up the Fury. If he happens to target one of our creatures, we'll respond by killing his Ambusher. So, if he starts using his mana to try to get in, then... Did I miss a pump on the Shambler? I don't think so, right? Electromancer, okay. Just another good blocker, really. So now maybe he wants to start dealing damage to us with the Sneaking Guide. Looks like it, yeah. We're absolutely not worried about this at this point. This Shambler, I don't think I've ever made it this big before. It always dies eventually. We could just end the game with a 15/15 Shambler and a Kazil's Fury. But here, we're just going to attack and then kick Reclaim. If we came in with the Brute, he could trade like his Electromancer and a Pack Beast for it. Not very exciting. I don't like that ambusher, so I think we just go in the air. Let's be patient here. If we kick Reclaim, we won't be able to hold up the Fury. So let's just not do it. We don't need the mana for anything, really. Let's just hold the card. We'll play another land just in case. We might want to be able to Fury and do something else on some turn. I'm going to let the Shambler get a little bit bigger. But if you just put counters on him all game and don't do anything with him, then he's... what's the point, right? Eventually, we're going to start attacking with him. By eventually, I mean very soon. Now that concerns me. That definitely concerns me. That is a huge problem that we're probably going to have to take out before his next turn. We'll let it resolve. We're definitely putting a counter on the Shambler. Okay, so he has enough mana to use the Banneret now. He can +1/+1 his whole team. Swing, 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 swing. We'd have basically one good block with the Brute and another one with the Shambler. The rest would all be getting through. We'd probably let the Ambusher through, so he'd pump that twice. No, he couldn't because he's tapped from the Banneret. Okay, so can't pump the Ambusher. What I'm thinking is, do we want to actually just sack a creature willingly to Kazul's Fury to kill this Banneret? And I think we're going to wait to see what we draw to make that decision. So let's just go to our turn. What we could do is attack with the Brute, the Shambler. The Brute, the Shambler, and Tabrax. He'll have to block if he wants to prevent lethal. So he's probably going to pump his Ambusher and then try to do some sort of profitable trade. He's not going to block with the Banneret in a million years. So if we use a trick there to blow him out, he's going to be left with the Banneret. Okay, we're going to attack. No reason to play land first. We're going for it. I think he's going to... If I was him, I would... If he lets the Shambler through, we can win with Kuzil's Fury right there. So I think he's going to pump the Ambusher and then maybe double block the Brute. Or just do this. Yeah, this is what I was thinking. So we'll order the blockers like this. Whenever a creature you control with a +1 counter becomes the target of a spell, an opponent controls created 1/1 token. So if we target this with our Kazil's Fury, it's not going to explode or something, which is what I was kind of worried about, but this is fine. And now we finish him with Kazil's Fury. Good game. Okay, we're into the next game. We've got to keep here. Yeah, so getting that Swarm Shambler up to a 7/7 turned out to be huge. It was just a great blocker. I said at one point, what's the point if you don't attack? That's not really true. He really held back my opponent. And swinging for 7 and then another 7, the Fury, like, is just ridiculous. What's also ridiculous is this Cleric of Life's Bond. We have no way to deal with this in hand. Like, we have Rabbit Bite, but This is not looking very good. This is one of those creatures that if you can't take it off the board right away, you're gonna die. And he's got the Blight Priest to trigger, so drains us, swings for 3. Like, we're in huge trouble. Well, I think we play the Arbor Mage. We could theoretically Rabbit Bite. It's still a good block for the Blight Priest because I love those trading. Yeah, he's got all the right cards. We're in huge trouble. Go Clerics deck. These are the two commons that are most important for the Clerics deck, no doubt about it. Core Celebrant, number 1. This is what makes everything go. The life gain triggers. He's basically got 2 Core Celebrants, because if all of his creatures are Clerics, this is going to function exactly the same way. It also triggers a life. So he's got 2 ways to trigger gaining life whenever he plays a Cleric, and he's draining us for 2 every time he does it. So he's also putting counters on the Cleric of Life's Bond. Like, when your opponent comes out with this card and you don't have the removal for it, you can basically just kiss the game goodbye. So, there's not much we can do here. I probably should have done the Killdeal's Fury, but I'm a little frustrated. I'm just going to swing. Yeah. We're dead in a series of like 5 turns. And he's only attacked with 1 creature. Like, this is ridiculous. That is not going to do it. Alright, good game. Okay, we're into the next game we've got to keep. Yeah, I was reading this article that 17 Lands did on what were the best cards to have in your deck when you drew them. And it certainly wasn't perfect. Like, but they did have some very interesting results. Like, number 1 far and away, the Luminarch Aspirant was the best card to draw in terms of your win rate. Like, no card spiked your win rate more than Luminarch Aspirant, and it wasn't even close. Also in the top 5 were the Thought Thief in black-blue, the uncommon that basically enables your team, pays off for your team, pumps all your rogues, mills your opponent, does everything you could possibly put in a card. That's in the top 5. Also in the top 5 is Cleric of Life's Bond, which we just went up against. It's just such a good card. And, you know, if we had a removal in hand we could have used to take it out, maybe we last a little bit. Well, we definitely last a bit longer in that game. But like I said, he had all the right clerics, and we might have been just delaying the inevitable. Okay, well, I was planning on playing the recovery here, but now I think we Blightblade and hold up the mana to pump the Shambler. On the following turn, we can Balagate Recovery as a land, and then play the Baloth the following turn. We can bounce the recovery with the Stomper, no problem. Kick the Reclaim after playing the Baloth. So he's got a 1/1 double strike here. We can't block. We could block, but we basically trade our Shambler for that. So we're not going to do that. We take 2. And a Pair Tactician. That's a huge problem. Okay. So we're up against the Warriors deck now, and he's got all the right Warriors. So do we play a land and then just play the Gloom Hunter? Or do we play the Balagate Recovery and then bail out the following turn? I have a feeling that might be more important, but we also want to be able to have the mana to put a counter on the Shambler. I think it's just Balagate Recovery, tapped, pass turn. Do we use Reclaim now while we have the mana? We do want to get up to the Stomper. Yeah, that'll give us our 4th and 5th lands. I would think we would hit a 6th land right on curve. Getting a giant Stomper out could really help. So I think we're going to reclaim here. We'll get a green because we don't have many greens if we plan on bouncing this one. In retrospect, I should have played the reclaim first and then the forest so you could see it. You can see a card in our hand basically when he... I could have made it so he didn't, but it doesn't really matter. I guess it's like 1 card. We got 5 cards. Relic Robber. Okay. Oh, you little bastard. You little bastard. Kite sail on the Relic Robber. That is the dream. He's living his dream. Good for you, Chinese characters, 1996. We're going to need this Gloom Hunter, and we're going to need it quick. Unless we draw removal, which would be nice. We don't have a single removal spell. We haven't seen any of them. Alright. Lose life. If we attack with a Shambler, he's just going to let it through and then come with all those warriors. So it's just... Now we need another black to kick this Gloom Hunter. And oh, he's got an Akiri too, so... Whenever you attack a player, so now he's living his dream. Man, we got no removal for this. Damn it. Honestly, he probably wet himself if he had this dream. You can even unattach the equipment to make the Relic Robber indestructible. I think that works with any creature type. Yeah. So, like... Yeah, we're dead. Well, 2 quick losses to 2 really strong... What can I say? Okay, we'll go with the Baloth. We're not technically dead. Like, the Gloom Hunter could block that. It could start gaining life. We'll have 3 tokens in play against us. But he's drawing cards every time he's attacking. We're going to have to race with the Gloom Hunter just to keep from dying. And all he has to do is equip one of his other creatures to block the Gloom Hunter and trade with it. So it's looking very dire. Very. But we're not technically dead yet. We got some big creatures out there. And I think we're going to go with the Shambler, the Baloth, and the Adventurer. We can't go with the Blightblade because the Blade Master has Double Strike. We got to keep in mind that whatever's equipped, he can make indestructible. So we're definitely playing a black. We're getting a landfall trigger. We're going to swing, swing, swing. We're not going to show him the Gloom Hunter until after combat. We got to be careful we don't die on the crackback here, but we've got a Blightblade back. The Veteran Adventurer has Vigilance, so unless he double blocks it, it should still be back too, and then we'll have a Gloom Hunter, so I think we'll be okay. I'd love to pump the Shambler up more, but we simply don't have time. If it trades 1 for 1 with something there, then fine. I swear to God, the Kite Sail on the Robber with an Akiri in play has got to be strong. I mean, and we ran into a busted clerics deck, so we were rolling along. Like, if we lose this game, I don't mind losing to that. If I draft a Relic Robber, I try to get a Kite Sail, or I try to get a Sneaking Guide. Oh, and he Furies us for 3. So we're dead. Oh, he had all the right cards. So even if we Gloom Hunter now, all he has to do is not attack, and on the following turn, we take the damage and die. Let's see if he's silly enough to attack. Oh, he can do even better. He can tap down our Gloom Hunter. Wow, this game wasn't close. But that robber, like that wrecked us. Like, obviously, taking 3 damage, he draws 3 cards. Like, nothing you can do about that. So, we were rolling right along. We had a really sweet deck, but wow, 2 unbelievably strong draws against us. And it's not like we were mana screwed or anything, like with straight up losses, but I mean, we ran into some serious synergy at the end of that draft. Anyways, 5 wins, I guess, is fine. It's above the break-even point in gems, so we made about 100 gems, I think. I think we played pretty well. I think the deck was okay. Obviously, splashing 2 red removal spells because you couldn't find good black removal is not great, but it's not like we were light on removal then. We had plenty of removal. It's just that it didn't quite work out for us. Like, we had the Rabbit Bite in hand against the Cleric of Life's Bond, but nothing big enough to bite. Or we had Kazil's Fury in that same game, I think, with no red source. So it wasn't ideal. Obviously, you want the black removal so you can just forget about Synchronized Spellcraft and the Fury, but I will say Fury's really nice when you have big green creatures like this. Like the Baloth punches as a 6, and then 6 here, 5 here. Those are the best decks for Kazil's Fury when you have big green creatures. The Chandler was fine. The game we got it out. It got rolling. It won us the game. The Inscription was massive more than once. I think we played this 3 times, maybe 4. You know, it was a fine ramp deck. But we had the game where we got mana screwed, and then we had the 2 games where we were just beat, and they were straight up really strong decks. But we got the 5 wins. We'll take the gems. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks for watching.